I am sorry for the headaches you are having about the discussion board. I want you to discuss the matter of layers that is in the assignment, but is not in the Blackboard place where you post. Revisions are a complicated issue, and sometimes things that should be included are not, and things get changed up. As I think about ministry in congreg- local congregations, whether it's a congregation of 50 people or thousands, understanding certain layers of culture is so important. In a video in the previous edition of the class, Dr. John Kessler highlights material from Donald K. Smith's book, Creating Understanding, a handbook for Christian communication across cultural landscapes. Now that's a title with a mouthful. But he talks about four layers of culture that are, when you understand them, you say, oh, yeah, that's pretty obvious. One layer of culture is what's vivid and seen, and you observe it, it's behaviors and artifacts. The second layer of culture is social authority, but social authority is broken down into two categories. It is the informal as well as the formal. A person does not necessarily sit on an official church board and have significant authority. I classify that as Aunt Bessie authority. People in the church go to talk to Aunt Bessie to find out what she thinks before they vote. Or in the parking lot after the meeting, they talk to Scott, and Scott doesn't like the decision that we just made. So even though it's officially made, it will not be implemented. It will be rescinded at the next meeting. That's social authority. That is informal. And then there's the formal authority, the people who make decisions according to the Constitution and bylaws of the church. The third is experiences. For instance, if a person were rebuked for sinful behaviors and it caused major problems, that experience is going to impact the next time that church discipline needs to be involved. And the fourth layer is values, both stated values and core values. I can say, I value evangelism. Your response should be, what have you done in the last 30 days to demonstrate that you value evangelism? And if I don't have an answer for you, then it is an aspiration. It is not a core value. It is a stated value, but it's not a core value. I will include the transcript of that video in the announcement for today. Now, assignment number 2-1. I want you to think through some of the illustrations also from the Bible. For instance, the example of the Apostle Paul, but there are many others that you can think through. Assignment 2-2. I do not want a video. I have no grading rubric to be able to interact on whether or not you covered the material well or anything like that. So I want that to be a written paper. I also like to stimulate you to think. I've been thinking about this issue in my own life. As I look around our congregation, I see people from Southeast Asia. I see people from Africa. I see wealthy people and poor people. But the question I've been pondering, I want you to ponder it, is this. It's a long question, I'm sorry. What would you give up or sacrifice if you began attending a church that was mostly a different ethnicity? For instance, if you went to Stephen Kim's church, out of his Korean background, you may need to learn Korean to participate in conversations, or maybe even the sermon or some elements of the service. Or Russ's church, strongly Ukraine, and then the complementary question, what would you gain? I wrestle with that and have some perspectives about it. But for those of us who live in communities that are primarily single ethnicity, that's almost an impossibility. For others of us who live in multi ethnic groups within 10 miles of the church, it's another situation. But it is impacted by culture. What will I sacrifice? What will I give up? What will I gain? Well, lots to think about this week. And I'm very sorry for the confusion uh, in the whole process, but I want you to interact on that matter of layers of culture, because if you go into a new ministry and you do not understand that who is the social authority informally, you're going to be in hot water. So, God bless you as you wind up the week.